That's a princess syndrome. It's such a toxic mentality that drives men away. You were sold alive that getting a job will make you more high value. It's called being entitled. Let's see why so many women are single today.
Courtney Ryan, and I stumbled upon this gem of a video over on TikTok. And when I saw it, I was one of the first people to see it. It didn't have a ton of likes or views or comments or anything like that. But I just thought it was so refreshing as a woman to hear another woman saying this. And I'm sure that as mostly men watching, you will find this refreshing too. So I'm going to show you guys just so that we're all on the same page. And then we're going to talk about it.
We need to have a chat. And don't get mad at me. Think of me like your older sister. Been there, done.
It says he's not intimidated by you on the top of the video.
I've already experienced this, learned the lesson myself. So now I just want to teach you the lesson so that you can be honest with yourself. That man did not end things with you or ghost you because he's too intimidated by you. Stop convincing yourself of that. Stop letting your friends convince you of that. People used to say that to me, so I used to say it all the time when things didn't work out with a guy. I have been pretty successful from a pretty young age, and one of the things about me at that time was that, like, I made it my whole personality trait. Like, didn't need anybody for anything. Work, like, came first. I was a little more on the, like, argumentative, like, highly opinionated, which I am a highly opinionated person, but, like, it was just a different way. And people used to say that to me, oh, well, they're just so intimidated by you. And I ate that shit up until finally it came to my senses and matured. And I was like, well, I'm not dating insecure men. So I don't think that the men I date who are, like, successful, have their shit together, you know, pretty confident, are ending it with me because they're intimidated. They think I'm too good for them. I just don't think that that's necessarily true. What I've learned and realized is that they just don't like it. Like, if you are argumentative, why would they spend their time with you when there's someone else who's not? Or if your whole life is about not needing anybody and just like, oh, I can do this, I can do that because I'm, like, so successful and work is everything to me, then, like, why would they want that in a partner when there's someone who's more, like, open to being, like, a team rather than so, like, independent? The only time it'd probably be true if a man was intimidated by you would be if he had significantly less going for him than you do. Like, successful, you make a ton of money, you travel, you live in a nice place, whatever, and he's, like, between jobs and lives with his parents, like, doesn't have a steady income. Or if you're, like, 10 out of 10, like, stunning model, most beautiful girl he's ever seen, and he's, like, unhealthy, unattractive, like, never been with someone that looks like you, so he, like, gets intimidated and unfortunately, like, psychs himself out. Maybe in that case. But chances are that's not what your dating dynamic is. And it's just that your personality isn't for him. He just doesn't like it, but he's not intimidated by you.
Love this girl. Wish that I could give her a hug because I have never heard another woman say this, especially on TikTok. Normally it's the strong, independent boss babes that don't need no man. And if you say something like this, you are ridiculed and attacked and called a pick-me or misogynist in the comment section, which very well could be happening. I don't know because I haven't gone to check the current status of the video because, as I mentioned, I saw this when it was first posted. But it's just insane. She's 100% correct. The accountability that she's taking here, talking about her past and the way that she's, you know, matured and realized this is just so self-aware and, again, just so refreshing to hear. And she's someone who has a female following, which is even better to see. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard women say, well, guys just don't like me because they're too intimidated by me, or I'm intimidating, or things didn't work out because he was, you know, intimidated by my success and I made too much money for him and blah, blah, blah. Men don't care how much money you're making. That's a woman thing that women care about in men. So then when we're dating, we think that men care about the same things that we do, when in reality, not even close. And they just don't like you, probably because if you're approaching dating with this I'm too intimidating mindset, or you are an independent boss babe that don't need no man, he doesn't like that about you. And you have a...
Well, that's the thing. You were sold alive that getting a job will make you more high value. All you do is earn more money. The opposite sex doesn't really care about that. And when you find out that men don't care about the amount of money you earn, it's an insane shot to your ego, because everything you've worked so hard for, all the time you sacrifice learning in school, the interviews, and all the shit you put up with at work is absolutely meaningless for a man, the guy you're interested in. Of course, that's going to set you off. Then you're going to cope by telling men that they're insecure that you have a job. No, you fell for the trap. You got finessed.
A bad attitude, and you're just not very likable. I did a video reacting over on TikTok to a woman saying, why have you wondered why men are choosing wonder bread women? Basically saying, do you wonder why men choose average women over you when you are a divine French croissant, basically high maintenance and all of this stuff? And it has nothing to do with the fact that these women are not as good as you. It's just that they don't like you. And by saying that a man doesn't like you because they're too intimidated by you, or you're too good for them, or you're too high maintenance, it's just honestly a cop-out for bad behavior. It's a way to take no accountability for yourself and the fact that you might just not be very likable. And in the Wonder Bread croissant case, I think if you have to put another woman down to feel better about yourself and why things aren't working out for you, that tells you all you need to know about yourself and the growth that you need to be taking. But in this case, I think it's great that, she was able to say, men are not intimidated by me. They just maybe didn't like me because I had a bad attitude. If you are a boss babe with a bad attitude, you've got princess mentality and want people to treat you like you're up on a pedestal all the time, or you're independent and don't need no man, those are probably the reasons why the men don't like you, not because they're intimidated by you. The first thing I want to talk about here is that women tend to go for men who are either at their level financially or success-wise or above them. This is hypergamy. It's real. It's true. It's not some myth made up by, people on the internet. This is a real thing that we do biologically. Statistically, it's safe for me to say this. Only 22% of women out-earn their husbands. And as women out-earn their husbands, their relationship satisfaction tends to decrease for themselves and also the man that they're with. Why? Because women typically want to be with someone who is at their level or above, as I mentioned. Now, this is not the case for every single woman on the planet. There are women out there dating men who make less or are less successful. It's just the way that it is, right? So again, statistically here, it's safe for me to say that them being intimidated by you is not the reason, because you're not dating men who are less successful than you or who make less money than you. And as I touched on earlier in the video, the reality is that men don't care how much money a woman is making. That's not something that's on their list of things that they're looking for. Men want someone who is going to bring peace into their life instead of constant chaos or a bad attitude or a princess mentality. You can be a very successful woman and men will like you if you have a good attitude and you're not a brat. If you're a woman who is well off, financially, maybe you're very successful and you're dating men who are at your level or above, well,
yeah, you know what it is? So we had Doomer Guy earlier from the stream. The equivalent of a female Doomer Guy that men try to avoid is that princess complex. The bratty, you need to spoil me, daddy, or I'm independent, all that. That's basically the Doomer Guy version. It's such a toxic mentality that drives men away. Whether you have a job or not, whether you get money on your own or not, whether you're a real boss or not, doesn't matter, dude. If I come home to a headache and not peace, you're next.
Well, then those men that you're dating also have more options in women. Why would a man choose to be with a woman who has a bad attitude and acts like she doesn't need him in the first place? Or even want him a lot of the time. I'm not saying that women should not be successful or financially stable themselves. I think it's a wonderful thing, but I think it's important to also know why things are not working out for you instead of just, making it a cop-out and saying, oh, well, they're too intimidated by me, because that's absolutely 99.9% of the time, not the reason why. It's because you're going after men who are at your level or above, which if you're, doing well off financially and you're successful, that's probably pretty high up. So right off the bat, you're limiting your pool of men to choose from. So if you can't find someone, that could be a reason why. And then secondly here, when you're dating men of that caliber, they have more women to choose from. So they're not going to choose the one with the bad attitude who sucks. Because there's plenty of financially independent women who do well and are successful that have a great attitude, who might embrace their femininity, who take care of themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, who, are supportive and encouraging and bring peace instead of chaos and a good attitude. And another thing I want to talk about here is that women don't really hold each other accountable. And she mentioned in the video that when she would tell her friends that she, got broken up with or things didn't work out, they would say, oh, well, he's just intimidated by you, or, oh, you're too good for him. And then you tell yourself that to feel better about why things didn't work out for you. And then you don't end up growing or evolving or becoming a better person because you're just never taking accountability or responsibility for the fact that you might be the problem.
That's a princess syndrome again that she's talking about. It's an attack on them, on their entire world. You can't really give her a critique without you having to deal with dead bedroom, without passive aggressiveness, without using sex as a weapon, right? If you try to talk to your woman and tell her something and how you feel, it gets weaponized against you. That's why there's so many men in relationships that they rather be quiet and be like, yes, okay, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, sweetie, you're right, blah, 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 which inevitably ends your relationship anyways.
Problem. And I think that women really do their...
And this is why you need to find one that has masculine presence in her life, that understands the value of men, because if you date these princess types, that's where you're going to end up. They expect from you without giving back anything.
Friends such a disservice by lying about this. And obviously some of them truly believe it, like they don't think that they're the issue. This is a common thing that we see. But a lot of them just are lying. We coddle feelings and we hype our friends up when things aren't working out instead of just being really honest and blunt with them. And that's because women don't really respond well when you tell them maybe you're the problem. And I know this from personal experience having women friends. I was always the friend, and sometimes this didn't land well, to be honest with you. A lot of times people would be scared to tell me things because I was very honest and blunt and to the point. I was never mean about it, but I was just always very honest. I would not sugarcoat it because I don't think that helps. But then after the fact, they would be like, wow, I'm so glad that I listened to you. I'm so glad that I came to you with this and asked for your opinion because I didn't see things that way before. And I do this because I would hope that my friends would do that for me. If I was in a situation where I was dating around and I was having no success and things maybe weren't working out for me and I told my friends about it and they said to me, oh, well, all those men suck or men are trash and you're too good for them. They're just intimidated by you. They would be lying because if everything's not working out with everyone, I'm the common denominator in that. And clearly I am playing a role in doing something wrong. So as a friend, it's helpful to just be honest so that your friends can grow. You know what happens when you're honest with your friends?
Yeah, but the default mentality is men ain't shit and men don't know what they want and they're cheaters anyway, and boss babe, I get on my own and I deserve the world. I deserve a six-figure man. I deserve nothing short of 6 feet, six-pack abs. That's how they talk. Entitlement. It's called being entitled. You think you're entitled to all this and you don't need to put in work and make yourself valuable, and you just existing is enough. Yeah, that's the perfect term for I am the table. That literally is exactly the cue you need to take for a low value woman. When she says, I am the table, you'd know she has absolutely no value.
They grow. They evolve. They become better because they aren't constantly stuck in a cycle of playing the victim and being woe is me and pointing their finger at everyone instead of taking accountability for themselves and their actions and understanding that they are the common denominator in every relationship that they have, and they might in fact be a part of the problem. It's okay to acknowledge that we are not perfect and we have room to improve, and there are things that are maybe a little bit unlikable about ourselves. There's no shame in admitting that. We're human. Taking accountability and responsibility is how we become a better version of ourselves, for ourselves, obviously, but also for the people around us. It's how you become a better daughter, a better son, a better sister, a better brother, a better partner romantically. So by never owning up to being part of the problem, or by pointing your finger at every man in the world and saying, all of you suck and I'm not the issue, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. And as a woman who makes content for mostly men, I can say this from my own personal experience making this kind of content and interacting with people. Just because you disagree with a woman doesn't mean that you're misogynistic or like a patriarchy problem. Sometimes women are wrong. Sorry. I love women. I really do. But if you're wrong, I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Because that doesn't help you or any of the other women who are all lying to themselves. And long term, it's really so much more beneficial to see the areas where you can improve as a person, as a partner, whether that be with a friendship, romantically, so that you can end up in a better situation and relationship. And I think it's super helpful when you're dating to understand that men and women are often looking for different things. Of course, there might be some overlap here and there, but men don't care how much money you're making. Women care how much money men make. And they're probably not intimidated by you because you aren't even dating men who would feel the need to be intimidated by you. I think the statistic is like 45% of women are projected to be single and childless by the year 2030. And to be honest,
I think over half is actually the stats for that.
I'm not totally surprised by that. I think so many people are single.
Is it over half? I swear I have that article up here. We're going to cover it. Rise of the she economy. Here we go. And it is officially, boys, let's see, 45% of working women, age 25 to 44 in the U.S. will be single, according to data from Morgan Stanley. Says it means you might want to think about buying shares in Lululemon and makeup companies. The investment firm notes that single people outspend their married counterparts. Yeah, and that's, again, single people outspend their married counterparts. Part and parcel because of how lonely they are, and people use material possessions to cope with their loneliness. You know who spends the most to cope with loneliness? Women. They generate a ton of income for companies. It's in their best interest to keep them lonely and single and sad because they spend, baby, spend. It's literally a term for it. It's what is that? Shopping therapy? What is it called? They have a term for it. Retail therapy. There it is. Is shopping with the primary purpose of improving the buyer's mood or disposition. Look, women. Picture is women. Bet you it's vast majority women. Yeah, look at her. Look how happy she is. Single. Look at her. Look. Oh my God, my little possessions are going to make me feel so amazing. Look. Oh, therapy. It's therapy. Yes. I've matched Tyrone on Tinder. Tonight's going to be great. I just shopped. Another pump and dump. Here we go. Look. They got it. We're all a group. We're having fun. You see this shit? It's all indoctrination. Oh my God. We'll end that video there. It's a ploy. When you keep women single, I'm telling you, this is going to be their fate. Spenders, they're going to up spending. Women are being catered to in marketing and everything, products being made. This is going to be a huge boon for companies.